Yes, so different type of diseases. Here we see that after hand washing, maintaining hygiene, so many type of diseases, they can be avoided. The spread of these diseases, that can be halted. Okay, so ideally, all users should have convenient, culturally acceptable source that provides an unlimited amount of water at affordable price and without degrading the environment. So means every person should be having access to sufficient amount of water. Okay, practically there are challenges, although uh, such type of situations we are overcoming it. Okay, so but we need to develop the whole infrastructure, whole setup should be there. The water source, first of all, the water availability, then the quality of water that should be maintained, then the pipeline network through which the water should reach the masses. Okay, that all has to be built up. So the amount of water that people need or use, that depends on its availability. Okay, and what is the uses, for what function the water is used. Okay, so the factors which are influencing the water usage, the individual water usage, that includes the socio-economic status of the user. Okay, whether and how people have to pay for the water, whether water is easy to get, and whether water is used for special activities. Yeah, like the irrigation is there. Okay, vegetable gardens, watering of animals. So different type of activities which are used here. So domestic uses, cleaning or irrigation or watering. Okay, so yes, efficient water transmission, that is also needed. Water distribution. Okay, the water, if it is lost during distribution, then that is also a limiting factor. So the pipeline network which is being set up, it depends on the quality of the network which is being developed, the quality of the infrastructure which is being developed. That during transmission, none of the water is not lost. Then at the initial phase, yes, like the refugees or the emergency situation. So 3 to 5 liters of water per person per day. That is one of the reference that how much water should be given. Okay, then further it can be increased 15 to 20 liters per person per day, depending on the water availability. Okay, in a stable situation, the minimum amount of water available to people should be 25 liters per person per day. Okay, means all of the basic functions, the task, they should be performed by the person. The cleaning of the locality, of the household, the body, hand washing, everything will be covered in this amount, 25 liters per person per day on the minimum value. If more is available, then more supply should be given. So here is a table giving the comparison. Okay, like institutions, one other point. Oh, sorry, the institutions. So there could be a health center. So outpatient 5 liters, inpatient 40 to 60 liters, Cholera treatment center, more water is needed. Okay, so depending on the other, like school, 25. Then we should reduce or minimize or eliminate the water losses in the supply system. Okay, poor conditions lead to near about 35 to 55% of water loss. Okay, then another factor, the livestock population. Okay, mainly depending on the rural areas, shelter homes for animals. Okay, then other animal husbandry, dairies, farming, everywhere. So approximated how much water that should be made available to these livestock animals available. Okay, like cattle 20 to 40 liters per animal per day, donkey and horses 10 to 40, sheep and goats 1 to 5. Now coming to another point, water collection time and use. So this is much more important when domestic, okay, the water, domestic water that is not available, means the water has to be collected from some other location, from some outdoor location, then it has to be brought to the household. So although that is not a desirable condition, okay, so the collection time of water, that is also an indicator of the availability. Okay, so what are the constraints or the factors which are affecting the water collection, the time and the usage of the water? So distance, at how much distance the water is available. Then waiting times. Okay, the effort needed to obtain water. Okay, so like a locality is there, people are living, but the water source available, that is not a nearby. The people have to cover a long distance. Well, in the present scenario, these factors have been minimized. Okay, in every locality, the water supply is available. In normal situation, now our target is to make water available in every household. And it is going on at a good pace, at a good speed. So these factors like the distance, that is being minimized now. So when the people have to move a long distance, then they will limit their usage of water as well. From far they are bringing the water, then they will try to save it, bringing a more amount of water. That will be needing more efforts. So the amount of water which is being made available, this will suffer the usage. So maybe if long distance is there, then those people, they will compromise with the hygiene. They will not use more water, reduce the consumption. And on the other hand, the hygiene will be compromised. Okay, so some studies, they have shown that people will not really restrict their water use if collection times are less than 3 minutes. Okay, or a distance of about 100 meter. Okay, in easy terrain with no waiting times. Means if waiting time is not there, okay, in 3 minutes or in 100-meter distance, then people will easily collect the water and use it. Freely they will use it. They will not restrict any of their task by the water availability. Okay, so longer collection time. This will result in a restriction on the use of water. Then they will start restricting their uses. Okay, so the amount of water collected. Okay, and the collection time is between 3 and 30 minutes, that also remains constant. Means up to 30 minutes, this will not make even a more or much difference in the task performed by the people. Means they will not compromise for the hygiene, for other factors as well, their uses as well. Okay, so like an example here is like the 8 minutes with the time to fetch the water, then there will not be any change in the water usage. Okay, for 20 minutes time duration, even the same amount of same task will be performed with the same amount of water. Okay, now if the task is increasing, so the time is increasing by more than 30 minutes. So the water usage, that will start decreasing. Okay, or the distance is 1 kilometer. If a person has to move 1 kilometer from his house to collect water, then this factor will, the decreasing in the usage of the water, that will become dominant. So here's a table. Water quantity used and water collection time, 3 minutes to 30 minutes. Here it is constant. Water collection time either 3 minutes or 30 minutes. The quantity of water used, that will remain the same. And after that what will happen? Yeah, below 3 minutes. If the water collection time is less than 3 minutes, how is it possible? This is only possible in case of a domestic piped water supply. If domestic piped water supply is available, then only time will be also be less. Distance, no distance, it is available inside the house. So the water usage, that will also increase. After 3 minutes, it will take time. After 30 minutes, the usage, that will reduce. The water quantity used, that will start reducing. Okay, so some of the data. So if a hand pump is there in a locality, so the maximum people assessing that hand pump or in the locality, that should be 500 to 750. If a tap is there, then 200 to 250 persons using the same tap. Well, this is the case when house domestic piped water supply is not available. This is if a supply line is available, like a chawl is there. Many people are living there, and one tap there is provided. So 200 to 250 people are there, then one tap is there. If more than 250 people are there, then two taps should be made available in that locality or in the chawl in that area. Okay, if taps with multiple, the tap stands with the multiple taps are used, no more than 6 to 8 taps per tap stand should be installed. Okay, so the minimum flow at a supply should be around 7.5 liters per minute. Means in 1 minute about 7.5 liters of water that should be flowing through the supply. Okay, and the effect of the season, like the rainy season and the summer season, they will affect. Well, that should not be taking place here. And also the storage of the water, that is also a main consideration here. Okay, overhead tanks are used, basement tanks are used. Why? Because water is not available for 24 hours. So whenever water is available, the storage should be there for domestic level as well, every household. Water supply is there, then the storage tank should also be there. Depending as per the usage of the household, as per the capacity of the household. Yeah, so storing water. So what are the advantages it is giving? It is available at hand when needed. The water is there. Okay, storing facility is not available, then all of the tasks related to water, they have to be performed only when the water is available. Okay, so unless the source is on the household plot, access to water is limited. Okay, so storing water storage tank should be available. This will solve the purpose. Okay, so other options, rainwater harvesting, very predominant, and the emerging concept in the future. You will see that many such type of structures will be developed. Just a minute. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so rainwater harvesting. So many type of these structures, public gatherings. In the future, they will be using this concept of rainwater harvesting. So what is it? It is basically the collection and storage of rain. Okay, otherwise, generally what is the case that the water, the rainwater, that is wasted. Usually just it rains and the water flows away. So first of all, the cost. What are the different advantages which we are getting with the rainwater harvesting? The cost is very less. Then the minimum amount of water which needs to be supplied, that is also reduced. The water bill, that is also reduced. Okay, although it is not drinkable, but still many type of task we can perform with the help of this rainwater. Okay, so the overall demand for the water, that will also come down. Okay, so like the water, importing the water, bringing from some other place to here, that transportation of water, that will also reduce if we install the rainwater harvesting systems. Okay, and water conservation. Okay, and the another thing is that the water energy requirement, energy required for making the water available or for pumping the water in the pipelines, that will also be reduced. Okay, then that water where we can use drinkable, okay, we can avoid it, but for the other purposes like irrigation, we can use it. Okay, and it is very simple as well. Very easily we can store it. So on highways we can install, on expressways we can install. So but just we need a very minor change, that we need to build a slope, okay, of the road, of the highway, of the expressway towards the slide where we have installed the accumulating unit. Let me just share an image of the rainwater harvesting system. Just a minute. Okay, so here, recharge well, basically we are storing the water here. And for the household purpose, another method is there. Let me share it again. Like here, for the domestic purposes also, we can store the rainwater there. So this is a very good and efficient and very well managed. Yeah, although it is not like that, maintenance is not needed. Yes, proper maintenance should be given there for this rainwater harvesting structure. Okay, but overall the advantages, they are much way ahead of the disadvantages related with the rainwater harvesting. And in the future, many of the highways, many other installation as well. So in your future, you can install this, like you are an architect, if you are designing industry or any commercial area. Okay, then many tasks are going on there, like in the shopping mall itself. If an architect that is designing a shopping mall, then many things you have to design there. A garden could be there. It gives a good look as well in the outer entrance of the shopping mall there. Then water that is needed for that irrigation of that garden. Okay, other cleaning purposes also. So everywhere there the rainwater harvesting structure could be installed. Okay, this will also lessen the requirement of importing the water, of purchasing the water. So that will, and also from the environmental point of view also, it is much better. Okay, now other advantage of storing the water. Okay, like if the water is stored for 1 day, then over 50% of the bacteria will die. Okay, another thing is that the suspending solids, okay, they can contain pathogens. Okay, they settle down. Solid particles, when the water is stored and it is left idle, then all the solid particles, they will settle down. So pathogens, they will also settle down. Okay, then separate the above surface water. It won't be containing these solid particles and all that. And after that, that is why the maintenance is needed. For the storage point of view, the maintenance is also needed. And reservoir, that is also one type of storage, huge storage system, the reservoir which is built near the dams. Okay, so plastic or fiber glass vessels or tanks, a very common type of a tank used for storing water storage. Okay, some of the considerations that it should be covered, because higher the open area, higher the contamination in that tank. So it should have a small opening or tap to prevent people from tipping the water out. Okay, so it should be covered with clean and tight lid. Okay, yeah. If the water is not used for drinking, the way it is extracted is less important. Yes, this one from the health point of view, the mosquitoes, they are breeding in the water. So that is another reason that why water should be, the tanks, the storage, they should be kept covered. Okay, so how much water should be stored? That depends on the situation, that how much is the water requirement, how much is the water availability in the area, and the frequency of water availability. Piped water supply is available, but it is only for 1 hour or half an hour once in a day. So then the storage, that becomes mandatory. Okay, in other areas where there is more frequent supply of water from the piped water supply, then maybe this is not a big consideration. Such a big storage unit is not needed. Smaller storage unit will be sufficient. Okay, so in general, the less reliable the supply, the more effort needed to obtain the water and higher the water need. Okay, the larger will be the storage capacity needed. So usually in the urban areas and the middle and the upper income group, this thing is not much dependent. So the only one factor which we have studied till now, that is from the rainwater harvesting point of view, which is to be installed there. Other the most of the contents which we have discussed today, they are much more related with the lower income group and where the water supply is not available, is not frequently available. Okay, so if there is a reliable continuous pipe water supply, okay, in the house connection, then the necessity of the storage that reduces. Okay, in other case, like the rainwater harvesting structures or like that, then the storage is needed. Okay, large storage could be needed there, depending on that. Well, in the present day, well, that is not much scenario that we are solely depending on the rainwater for the domestic purposes as well. But still, at a large scale, somewhere the rainwater that can be accumulated. Okay, so where there is a reliable source throughout the year, the storage capacity equivalent to the amount of water used in 1 to 2 days, that is probably adequate. Okay, now in addition to water storage vessels, household usually need vessels to transport from one place to another. Okay, so they should be made so that carrying the water is as easy, as comfortable as possible. Okay, the vessels, they should be, yes, covered, we have already discussed it. Okay, so in emergency situations, it is often necessary to distribute water vessels so that people can collect and store water. Okay, that is the case. Water supply is not available, ample water supply is not there, or the emergency situation, like there is a scarcity in the rainfall shortage is there. In that case also the storage of the water, that also gains importance. Okay, usually by the meteorological department it is initially it is specified, or from the distribution network as well. The water supplying agency, the administrator, they also usually give a warning if there will be a scarcity in the water supply in the coming days, coming years, coming time. Then also warning or some alert notice that is provided, so that the people should be prepared. Already they would have stored the water and they would be prepared to deal with such an emergency situation. Okay, so water quality. Okay, so what does it include? First of all, the physical quality, chemical quality, microbiological quality. So microbiological quantity is much more related with what we have discussed in our previous topics today, that the pathogens, they should not be present in the water. If the water is not clean, then it will not serve the purpose. It will not be able to maintain hygiene, provide cleanness, stop the transmission of diseases. So the quality of the water, that should be high as per the requirement for which purpose it is to be used. Drinking water, that should be totally clean. Quality should be highest. Okay, then other than health point of view, the presence of pathogens in water, usually they do not create much problem. Well, polluting sludge, we will discuss it in the next class of sanitation system. So water quality and disease transmission, that how they are related. Okay, so water can transmit pathogens directly into people. Okay, so first of all, by drinking, if the water that is already containing pathogens and a person is drinking it, then that will cause an adverse effect on the health. Okay, another thing is that some type of pathogens are available which can penetrate the skin. Usually this is very less a rare case, because very few type of organisms are available which could penetrate the skin as well. Otherwise, mostly they are entering through the mouth. Water is not clean, someone is drinking it, hands are not clean, and the person is eating the food with the dirty hands. So mostly through the mouth, means we consider that the skin that is impermeable. This disease causing organisms, they cannot penetrate the skin. So diseases related, okay, we have already studied this type of health issues. Okay, so here is a small table. Let us discuss it in the last topic here. Like diarrhea, genial worm infection. So all of them, they are reduced when using a good quality of water. Means water supply, good quality of water supply is made available to the residents. Then, and they are also taking the precautions. They are maintaining the hygiene. Then there is a huge reduction in the diseases, in the diarrhea, infant diarrhea. One of the big issue with the infants, that is also reduced. Guinea worm infection, many type of diseases, they are reduced. Okay, water sources, spring, yes, that is okay. But as from your point of view, from the architect's point of view, rainwater harvesting, this is one of the point. And another thing is the piped domestic water supply. Okay, rainwater harvesting, okay, we have discussed already. Borehole or tube well, mostly related with rural sector as well. The groundwater we are utilizing here. Okay, so tube well, okay, that is having good uses in the rural sector, the agriculture, irrigation. Hand dug wells, okay, but in the future, these things are not going to be much more part of that. Otherwise, the piped water supply, that is the thing which is being highly implemented in all of the areas, especially the rural areas, the lower income group areas. So that is being installed in the present time and the future also. As per the current policies of the government also, we saw that in the future the piped water supply will be made available to every household. Already we have done a lot in this field. In the future also this is going to increase. Now water treatment. Yes, so basically what water treatment means, we have to remove pathogens. The water is treated, pathogens are removed, then it is to be supplied to the households. Yes, piped water supply should normally be chlorinated to reduce the risk of waterborne outbreaks. Okay, in an emergency situation, water should be chlorinated if it is piped to more than 10,000 people. So water should be chlorinated if an outbreak of fecal oral infection is occurring. Means if the diseases are spreading, then it is very important to maintain the quality of the water which is being supplied to this to such area where the diseases are spreading in that area. Okay, so chlorine, okay, that is one of the main part of the water treatment process. It kills pathogens present in the water at the time of treatment and will protect water from future contamination. Okay, although some type of pathogens, they can survive. Okay, so the amount of chlorine which is added to the drinking water, that should be as per the specified norms. If it is less than the effect on the pathogen, that won't be too much that they will die out. So that will not solve the purpose of maintaining the quality of the water, or it should be drinkable basically, by what is meant by the quality. Okay, so 0.2 to 0.5 milligram per liter. This should be the content of the chlorine. Okay, so contact time of at least 30 minutes should be allowed before the water is safe to drink. Okay, or before the free residual chlorine can be measured. Okay, I think most of the topics we have already discussed. Accessing the water quality, health issues we have discussed, water reservoirs. Okay, sludge we will discuss in the coming lecture. Okay, so I think that will be sufficient for today.